Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Monday, July 17th, and the second half of the MLB regular season is underway, and we're going to do our regular Monday show right now that I do with Drew Martin every Monday and Thursday, previewing upcoming series in MLB with Drew Martin calling in remotely via Skype. Drew Martin, thanks for joining us, even though you're not in the office today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Pete. Yeah, always excited to do this show with you. And even though I'm not right next to you, hopefully we can give the viewers a couple insights into making some money this upcoming week.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So the first weekend of baseball was a little bit tricky. Let's throw up my record. Drew Martin, I've now had 4 winning days in a row in my official picks on the morning show that we do at 10:30 Eastern time every weekday morning, and definitely some curious stuff that we've seen in the opening series. First of all, the Cubs got a sweep. They swept their first 3 games. The offense is looking like maybe it's kicking into high gear, and maybe the excellence that we saw from the Cubs last year might start to show its face a little bit in this second half. What do you think about that in general? Do you take anything from the Cubs opening series, or do you think it's just due to variance?
No, I take something from it. I mean, you know, with this break that the players get, maybe they got their minds right, and the bats definitely came out. Now, I actually think it's an interesting game tonight here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with Lester taking the hill, I'm not sure if you were going to hit on that, but I mean, if he can regain what the past Lester as a pitcher has been, I think the Cubs can really be a wrecking ball going forward and make some money on them.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the series that I wanted to bring up. So let's bring that up right now. The Cubs against Atlanta. Now, the thing is that Atlanta, as we've noted in many of these shows, Drew Martin, surprisingly not just unshitty, but surprisingly good and actually quite profitable. They've been more profitable on the road than at home, but still plus 3% ROI overall on the year at home. And the Cubs are, of course, as we mentioned, off of an impressive sweep, but so are the Braves, right? An impressive home sweep. And, just looking at what the line is for tonight's game, before I saw that one, I was thinking that Atlanta might have some value here. Again, Lester is great, but Atlanta, a big home underdog with Tehran starting. And then on Tuesday, we have Lackey against Newcomb. Newcomb, of course, starting to struggle, as a lot of people thought would happen with him with his control issues, but Lackey, very hittable. And then on Wednesday, Montgomery against Dickey. And we know what Dickey has been doing recently. Very, very impressive mini resurgence. Not sure how long that's going to last, but it's definitely been impressive and definitely worth noting. So I'm thinking that as good as the Cubs might be going forward, Atlanta is clearly the side with value in this series. Or do you think no?
No, I agree with you, and especially in tonight's game.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to give a shout out to Dave Malinsky, who's now joined the SBR family. He's putting out a piece every morning, and I can't recommend it enough. I almost look at it as the Wall Street Journal of sports betting. It's a great way to kind of get a look at sports betting in the morning. He's going to be putting it out on SBR Picks every morning. And he did a write-up on tonight's game, the Cubs and the Braves, in really breaking down Lester, and I take his word for it. Lester, the velocity has been a little bit down, and it's going to be interesting with the extra rest if Lester can really hold the Braves bats at bay. And as we know, in Atlanta, it's kind of been an over ballpark so far, SunTrust Park. I know there's going to be some weather in Atlanta, so if they get this game off, I'm definitely going to be watching Lester closely. But I like this over.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to step in front of these Chicago bats, and with it only at 9 and with the Braves bullpen, I think we could get up and over this.
Yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't have been saying especially tonight's game until I saw the line. And when the line opened at, plus 145 or whatever it was, I definitely hit that one. And I definitely also hit the over on this one as well, Drew Martin. And we talked about this game tonight's game in the Monday morning show. And definitely I mentioned that the over and Atlanta as a home dog were strong leans. And then again, I think I'm going to feel the same way on Tuesday and Wednesday, assuming that the lines are going to be similarly disrespectful of Atlanta. Atlanta particularly hits lefties well, and Montgomery is a vulnerable lefty on Wednesday. And then again, if Dickey can maintain what he's been doing, Atlanta should have the edge there. And again, it's Newcomb against Lackey. Newcomb questionable, but so is Lackey. And so I'm thinking that Atlanta might have the edge tomorrow and Wednesday as well.
Yeah, I mean, Dickey's always an interesting one to handicap. I've never had a lot of success with the knuckleballers. But I want to ask you a question on tonight's game. Are you fading Leicester, or are you backing Tehran, or is it a mixture of all the above?
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of both, and I'm thinking that maybe one will win, and I'll wind up cashing because I took the 9.5 at underdog line as well. But yeah, it's just generally, I mean, there's a lot of factors involved. I like Tehran's questionable inconsistency as a bonus for the over. I like the fact that that the Braves hit lefties pretty well as a factor that's promoting a play on them as a home underdog. So it's just kind of both of them. Yeah, I bet the over, and I bet the Braves as a home underdog. But now usually when that happens, I'm also on the team total over, but I'm actually not on the Braves team total over in this one for a few reasons. But yeah, I could easily see an over cashing with the Cubs having a huge offensive game as well. So it's a combination of both, to answer your question. Good question though, Drew Martin, for sure.
Yeah, man, because it was interesting to me because I'm actually looking to fade Leicester with the velo down, like Dave Malinsky talked about in Point Blank. So yeah, I agree with you. I think the value at least is with the home dog.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's see if we can get Dave Malinsky maybe at some point in the near future to chime in on one of the teams that certainly has me scratching my head. Let's see if you can give us any answer for this one, Drew Martin, and that is the Cleveland Indians. Now, we know that Cleveland, on paper, excellent lineup, some great starters, and a great bullpen, but they have the worst home ROI overall in baseball, and now it looks like that sort of like a psychological disease might be crossing over to the results on the road. They just got swept at Oakland. Now, we know that Oakland can be very good at home, but again, they just got swept. They're now down to minus 1% ROI on the road. Now they're going on the road against San Francisco, who is not like Oakland. San Francisco minus 23% ROI at home. San Francisco just lost 2 of 3 at San Diego. So my question is, what's up with Cleveland? Can they be trusted to get wins even against terrible teams like the Giants?
You know, Pete, the best thing going for Cleveland right now is they're heading to San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco is sitting right now at 35-58, down almost 30 units on the season. So that's the only thing giving me a positive vibe about Cleveland. And we've talked about it before. You know, when teams go out to Oakland, it's kind of a sleepy atmosphere there. Not a lot of people in the stands always, even though it was a weekend series, but still, I mean, going out there can be tough, even though the Oakland A's aren't very good. They did have a pretty good bullpen. Obviously, that's going to get dismantled now because bullpen arms are so valuable coming down the stretch in Major League Baseball for the contending teams. But, I mean, yeah, for Cleveland, not having to make a big trip or anything from Oakland to San Francisco, I'm staying away from this, Pete. I don't want to lead anybody astray. I don't know. Are you betting this series?
Well, I'll tell you, Drew Martin, similar to guys who can't stop dating whacked out crazy chicks, I did actually bite tonight on Cleveland. I took them 2 ways, -1, and I took them on the second half. I bet both of those, and I took them as official picks as well in the morning show. And I'm gonna say, all right, if there's any spot where Cleveland can utilize a strong bullpen and their strong lineup to pull out some wins and to have some betting value, this has got to be it. Also on Wednesday, Carrasco is making a start, and we know that Carrasco, has some vicious stuff. He's a little bit, he gives up home runs, but maybe here against San Francisco, against the National League lineup in this park, he'll get a little bit of a break on that one. So I'm going to be looking for another play on San Francisco maybe on Wednesday. It's not clear. I haven't been able to figure out who's expected to start for Cleveland on Tuesday, but I know that Matt Cain is supposed to be making a start, so I'm on Cleveland tonight 2 ways, and I'm probably going to be on them a few more ways in this series, Drew Martin.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Great analogy,
Can't
right?
say it any better, man. Yeah, just she's that hot.
Yeah.
We all know it's tough to get rid of her. I'll tell you.
I know, but there's clearly something psychologically wrong with Cleveland, and it's not clear when that is going to fix itself. But again, Carrasco, nasty stuff. The bullpen, great. The lineup, great. They got to be able to take care of things in this series. So I'm on them 2 ways tonight, Drew Martin. And again, looking to be on them on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. We'll see what the pitching matchups are and what the lines are. Let's see. Another interesting series. See if you have anything to say about this one. Toronto at Boston. Now, Toronto, minus 8% ROI on the road. Boston has been good at home, plus 5% ROI at home. But Boston, of course, is off a tough series against the Yankees, where they had an extra inning game on Saturday and then a doubleheader on Sunday. Their offense in general has sort of been slumped out since the All-Star break started, and even starting a few games before that to close out the first half. So I'm wondering if Toronto might have an edge here just because of the spot that Boston's going to be in for this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see it in the spot. We have the worst placed team in the AL East versus the number one team in the AL East. And look at the pricing. It's about even, even though it is, I'm pulling up the odds right here across the board on SBR odds. You know, Toronto's having to go into Fenway. And with Rodriguez on the hill, you know, the southpaw, he has had some control issues, but still he's a high ceiling guy, a guy that seems to be progressing in his career. And Stroman on the other hand, but they open minus 130 now, pretty much even across the board. You can kind of shop if you want to get an underdog price on either team. But if the pricing continues to be like this for the next few games, it's almost as if, is the market pricing Toronto for a second half push here? Or is it just the simple spot play in the bullpen usage for the Red Sox in the last 2 days? It's an interesting concept, and it might be a little of both, Pete. I don't know. Where do you fall on it?
Well, I'm thinking that Toronto might have some value, because on Tuesday we have Happ against either Brian Johnson or Hector Velasquez, and, you know, both those guys could come up and have a great start. But again, you know, a guy coming up from AAA facing Happ. Then on Wednesday, Sanchez, who had a great start his last time out and looks like he might be in for a resurgence here after you know, being injured for a while. He's going up against Pomerantz, but Pomerantz obviously a quality starter who will probably serve to make Boston a favorite in that game. And then on Thursday, another situation like that, Liriano against Sale. Obviously, Sale's awesome, but that also means that you know, Boston's going to be a massive favorite there. So my just sense is that over these 4 games, that overall we're going to look back and see that maybe Toronto had some betting value.
Yeah, I agree. And I could see Toronto really being a moneymaker here in the next couple weeks. But we know, you know, pretty much with all of these AL East teams, when they go on a run, the market pretty much corrects itself pretty fast. They're all big market teams, and they will command dollars.
For sure. All right, then the only other series that I want to specifically get to is Philly at Miami. Now, Philly, you know, they did win 1 of 3 at Milwaukee, but still looking just like a very beatable team. Their ROI overall on the road is minus 30%, so it's been a great fade on the road this year. Miami, we know the deal with them. We talk about them a lot. We feel like they should be a little bit better than they have been. They're minus 9% ROI, you know, at home. And they just got swept at home. But, you know, you can give them a little bit of a pass on that one because they got swept by the Dodgers. So now Miami stays at home. You know, despite the sweep to the Dodgers, they still have a positive record, positive ROI in July, even after the sweep. And they still had a positive record in June as well. So Philly's hitting okay, but I'm thinking maybe we look to Miami to have value here. What do you think?
Yeah, and don't forget, I mean, at least in one of those games, I think the Saturday night game, that they had the game won until the top of the 9th, and they gave up Puig hit a multi-run home run for the Dodgers to win. So it wasn't like they got blown out every game. But in this series, one thing that I've really picked up, and to mix a little fantasy with sports betting, I picked up the big lefty Adam Conley for Miami. You know, he's a high ceiling guy. He throws hard. Kind of a unique angle coming from the left side there. And I picked him up on my fantasy team. I'll actually look to bet on him tomorrow. I think that I haven't seen the lines for tomorrow's games yet, but Velasquez versus Conley at home for Miami. We know Miami's been taking money. Pretty much there's a couple big groups out there, I'm guessing, that really like this Marlins team, mainly because of their lineups. So, yeah, I'll be looking to bet on Miami in this series, Pete.
Yeah, tonight's line was a little bit high, so I was a little bit hesitant to take tonight's line. But tomorrow, yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sold on Velasquez. Obviously, he has great stuff, a great fastball, but you have to have more than that to have a reliable success in the majors. And then on Wednesday, Pivetta against Straley, and Straley's been very reliable, an excellent starter. Pivetta at some point might be reliably good, but for now seems not ready. Of course, a good start from him would not be a shock, but Straley seems more reliable at the moment, and of course, Miami a better lineup. So I'm going to be looking for Miami in this series for sure. All right, Drew Martin, what other series before we move on to specific starting pitching assignments would you like to bring to our attention, if any? Yeah,
no, you hit on a couple of them, Toronto and Boston, and also that Miami series with Conley. But one more that I wanted to bring up, Junior Guerrera going for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's really been a mess.
Yes.
And when you look at his numbers, he actually has at least 3 walks in all of his starts except his opening day start. And that was on April 3rd. In some of those games, he has 4 or 5 walks, and that was since he came off of the DL. So with the extra rest after the All-Star break, this is an interesting start for Junior Guerrera. And if he can't find the strike zone again, he's going to be big-time fade city for me going forward. So one thing to watch in tomorrow night's game on Tuesday, the Milwaukee-Pittsburgh game, is how Junior Guerrera faces that, really, I would say, mediocre lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that's one matchup I will be watching closely tomorrow night.
Guerra has definitely been pretty much an auto fade for me actually all season long. I jumped on that train as soon as he was thrown into the starting rotation, and I don't know exactly what I'll expect from him on Tuesday, but long term, as long as he's in the starting rotation, I'm going to be fading him. And now let's talk about it. Drew Martin, you ready? You ready?
Let's do it.
You know what I'm about to bring up, right?
Just bring it up, Pete.
Are you fucking kidding me? The return of Bartolo Colon to the American League in an American League park at home, a hitter-friendly park facing the Yankees. Are you kidding me? Bartolo Colon scheduled to start on Tuesday against the Yankees. What is the Yankees line going to be here? I don't know. What's the Yankees team total going to be here? I don't know. But I mean, I know he's supposed to be limited to 90 pitches, but those are going to be 90 ugly pitches, right, Drew Martin?
Oh my! I'm telling you right now on SBR odds, Chris just came out with the lines. Yankees minus 127 right now.
That's
Don't
bullshit.
wait.
Are you serious?
Don't wait. I'm pulling up my bookmaker account right now. I'm not joking.
Is that really the line?
Minus 127. Go
right
now. Yes. I keep in mind they're on the road, and I don't know why it's like this. It won't be like this for long.
Minnesota has also been a terrible team ROI at home in general. You know, Sessa is starting for the Yankees. He's been shaky, but he has some potential. He has some upside. His last minor league start was good. You're right that this line is going to get bet higher, and by the time the first half lines come out, that won't be until tomorrow morning, and that line, I'm guessing, will be by the time the market has matured and the first half lines come out and you throw in the juice, probably at minimum minus 160. More like maybe minus 170 or 180 even, but that's got to be a good...
Don't wait for that, Pete. Don't wait for...
No, I'm not going to. In fact, let's wrap this up pretty quick because I want to go and bet this one as soon as I can. I'm sure the line's going to move in a matter of seconds. The only other thing I want to bring up is on Thursday, Hamels against Miley. I'm pretty confident Miley is going to get hit at home against Texas. The question is what to expect from Hamels. He's actually had 3 great starts since returning from the DL. His first start back was shaky, or he had 1 bad start thrown in there. I was expecting him to struggle, but his last 3 starts have all been great. His strikeouts are up, and what do you expect from Hamels going forward?
You know, Hamels, I like to bet on the Rangers, and I can't lie to you, Pete. I'm trying to log into my bookmaker.
Right, no, me too. I have internet access right now, actually. So I'm just going to just give a few quick words about Hamels, if you have any. I definitely expect Miley to get hit on Thursday. He's been absolutely horrific, and sometimes he's not as bad as other times, but in general, a very, very hittable and auto fade guy. Would you agree with that?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'm not looking to bet on Miley at any point. In Texas, Baltimore, no matter what ballpark it's in, both hitters' parks, I'm not betting on Miley. Yeah, it's in Baltimore, so I'd actually go Texas or pass.
Right. Okay, great call, Drew Martin. Tune in for my morning show that I'm going to be doing tomorrow morning at 10:30 Eastern Time. We'll see what the line is for the Bartolo Colon game is then, and we'll see if it hasn't moved too much, if I'm going to make it an official pick, and I'll be very interested just to see what the Yankees team total over winds up being when that one opens. Drew Martin, thanks so much.
Hey, thank you, Pete. And will that be the low-hanging fruit?
Oh, it's got to be. I mean, unless we come in and it's suddenly got taken so much money that it's like minus 180 or minus 220. Who knows?
Okay. All right, buddy. Good luck. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks very much.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.